Money King. Jojo felt the world spinning around him as he lay on the stretcher inside the ambulance. The pain from his accident pulsed through his body. Abraham, standing beside him, was worried beyond words. He had seen Jojo's injuries, and they were far worse than they initially appeared. As the paramedic administered first aid, Jojo pleaded with Abraham not to take him to the hospital. He knew the medical bills would be a burden he couldn't bear. But Abraham insisted on prioritizing Jojo's health over any financial concerns. He knew that his friend needed immediate medical attention. When they reached the hospital, Jojo was rushed into the emergency room. The doctor began conducting further tests. As the doctor looked at Jojo, he couldn't shake the feeling that he had seen him before. In the midst of the medical examination, a nurse entered the room with medication. The nurse recognized Jojo and confirmed the doctor's suspicion. Jojo's face showed a mix of gratitude and worry. He thanked the nurse for her kindness in letting him escape from the hospital earlier, risking her job to help him. Jojo asked the nurse for her name, and she replied, "Candle." He took down her number, promising to express his appreciation in a more significant way when he could. Their brief interaction had kindled a connection. Shortly after, Abraham arrived at the hospital. He had settled the medical bill using the insurance provided by their workplace. He couldn't help but joke with Jojo about his frequent visits to the hospital. Still, he knew that beneath the humor, Jojo was struggling with the weight of the medical expenses. As they made their way back home, Abraham suggested that Jojo stay with him and his wife while he recovered from his injuries. Jojo felt grateful for the offer but remembered overhearing Abraham's wife complain about his extended stay in their home. Additionally, Jojo had already rented a small shanty house, a place to call his own. Jojo and Abraham walked past a bustling market where vendors were openly discussing their challenges. They were complaining about aggressive cartels demanding illegal revenue, threatening to destroy their goods if they resisted. These vendors questioned why the county government wasn't protecting them when they were diligently paying their taxes. The cartels were believed to be led by high-ranking thugs, often referred to as the untouchables. Their grip on the local market created an environment of fear and exploitation. Jojo and Abraham parted ways that evening, each heading to their respective homes. Jojo opened the door to his newly rented shanty house, revealing a modest interior with only a few utensils and a single mattress. He had earned this place through hard work and determination. Sitting on the floor, enjoying his simple meal, Jojo's mind wandered. He thought about the luxurious cars he'd seen on the streets and envisioned a better future for himself. The desire for financial stability, not just for himself but for his future family, filled his thoughts. Then, Sheila came to mind. Jojo remembered the beautiful woman he'd met at a wedding he'd gatecrashed, a chance encounter. Months had passed since their last meeting, and he wondered if she'd even remember him. Nevertheless, he made up his mind to call her the next day. Jojo retired to bed, his thoughts filled with dreams of what could be. The following morning, Jojo was awakened by his noisy neighbor's quarrel. A man and a woman were locked in a heated argument, and Jojo couldn't help but be entertained by the drama. However, he couldn't ignore the words exchanged, revealing the struggles of those around him. Jojo went back inside and settled for his leftovers from the previous night's supper. As he ate, he contemplated how he could earn money despite his current physical limitations. His injury was a significant obstacle, but he refused to be defeated. Jojo decided to go for a walk, hoping that some fresh air and a change of scenery would help him brainstorm potential solutions to his financial challenges. As he walked, he stumbled upon a payphone and thought about Sheila, a woman he'd met by chance. With a few coins in hand, he dialed her number, though he wasn't sure if she'd even remember him after months of silence. The phone rang, and when she answered, Jojo found himself captivated by her voice. After a somewhat awkward introduction, Sheila was pleasantly surprised by Jojo's call. She had thought he'd lost interest in her after their initial encounter. Jojo explained that the past months had been tough, and his situation was a complex story that couldn't be condensed into a phone conversation. Sheila suggested they meet, even if just for lunch, and Jojo hesitated. He knew he couldn't afford to take her on a proper date at this time. So, he told her he was out of town, avoiding the awkwardness of his financial situation. Sheila, however, sensed the truth and offered to treat him to lunch during the upcoming weekend. Jojo agreed, and they made plans for the date. Before ending the call, Jojo confessed that he was using a payphone and promised to call her a day before their meeting to finalize the details. Afterward, Jojo sat under a tree, contemplating how to overcome his financial constraints. Remembering his fellow construction workers' complaints about having to walk long distances for refreshments, he realized he could provide a solution. Jojo's entrepreneurial spirit had been awakened. Jojo embarked on a new venture, investing in the ingredients to make mandazis and coffee to sell to the construction workers. He hoped this business would fill the void at the construction site, bringing in much needed income. As Jojo shopped for the necessary ingredients, he pondered the risks and potential rewards of his new endeavor. Would the construction workers embrace his refreshments? He knew it was a gamble, but it was a risk he was willing to take. Back in the quiet confines of his shanty house, Jojo discovered a friendly face waiting at his doorstep. It was Abraham, always ready with a jest to lighten the mood. With a hearty chuckle, Abraham quipped that Jojo didn't know how to rest, even when it seemed he should. Jojo, his voice filled with a touch of wistfulness, responded, "I wish that were the case." The pain from his recent accident still resonated within him, a constant reminder of his physical limitations. Refusing to let his friend linger in melancholy, Jojo quickly offered Abraham a seat inside, providing him with a cup of tea and some bread he had purchased. They exchanged pleasantries, but Jojo's mind was abuzz with another matter. With a sense of anticipation, Jojo turned to Abraham and asked a pressing question. "Do you think they'd allow me to sell coffee and mandazis at the construction site?" It was a gamble Jojo was willing to take, a spark of entrepreneurship ignited by his recent tribulations. Abraham's response was tinged with uncertainty. He admitted, "I'm not sure. Lately, those who tried were often told to leave." The words hung in the air, heavy with the unpredictability of Jojo's new endeavor. Abraham excused himself, his primary mission of checking on Jojo's well-being fulfilled. With a friendly farewell, Jojo saw him off, his mind still spinning with ideas and hopes. In the solitude of his small home, Jojo got to work. He set about preparing the mandazis, the sweet scent of success lingering in the air. Yet, he couldn't ignore the potential risks involved in this venture. There was a chance he might not be allowed to sell his refreshments to the construction workers, a risk that could lead to financial loss or the promise of great profit. Jojo's journey was turning into an unexpected entrepreneurial quest. The uncertainty he faced echoed the realities of many who dared to start their own businesses. It taught him a valuable lesson: the path to entrepreneurship is filled with challenges and risks. But it's those who press on, despite the uncertainty, who have a chance to transform their dreams into reality. As Jojo continued to bake his mandazis, he knew that tomorrow held both the promise of success and the looming specter of failure. But he was determined to see this venture through. Stay tuned for the next episode of Money King by liking and subscribing, and join us in witnessing Jojo's continued journey towards economic freedom and self-discovery in the challenging urban landscape.